In his first press conference since Election Day, Duterte said on Sunday, May 15, in Davao City, he will ask lawmakers to approve the death penalty for certain crimes. Duterte wants capital punishment for criminals involved in illegal drugs, gun-for-hire syndicates, and those who commit heinous crimes like rapists, robbers, or car thieves who kill their victims. The passage of House Bill No. 7814 is an attempt on the part of the government of the Philippines to reintroduce the death penalty, who under the leadership of President Duterte has called for a return to death penalty since his election in 2016. The bill is aimed at strengthening the country's drug prevention and control. Section 20 of the bill provides a mandatory penalty of death for a new crime involving the use for implementation of a search warrant based on falsified documents or planted evidence. There is also a presumption of guilt if the accused planter does not follow the investigation procedure under Section 19 of the bill. Not only do these provisions demonstrate intent for a broader introduction of the death penalty in the Philippines, but they prevent human rights institutions in the country from carrying out effective work.
Then I would plead to Congress to restore death penalty. Heinous crime committed with licensed firearms must be death. Rape plus death of some victim must be death penalty. Kidnapping tapos with ransom, pinatay ninyo, must be death penalty. Robbery with homicide with rape, double the hanging. After one person, there will be another ceremony for the second time. Total talaga ng completely severed yung ulo sa katawan.
Every day, people are executed and sentenced to death by the state as a punishment for a variety of crimes, sometimes for acts that should not be criminalized. In some countries, it can be for drug-related offenses. In others, it is reserved for terrorism-related acts and murder. Some countries execute people who were under 18 years old when the crime was committed. Others use the death penalty against people with mental and intellectual disabilities. And several others apply the death penalty after unfair trials in clever violation of international law and standards. People can spend years on death row not knowing when their time is up or whether they will see their families one last time. Although international law says that the use of the death penalty must be restricted to the most serious crimes, meaning intentional killing, Amnesty believes that the death penalty is never the answer. The death penalty is a symptom of a culture of violence, not a solution to it. Execution methods including beheading, electrocution, hanging, lethal injection, and shooting. The death penalty is incompatible with human rights and human dignity. The death penalty violates the right to life, which happens to be the most basic of all human rights. It is also violates the right not to be subjected to torture and other cruel, inhumane, or degrading treatment or punishment. Furthermore, the death penalty undermines human dignity, which is inherent to every human being. Since the start of President Duterte's term in 2016, however, he has sought to reinstate the death penalty and almost succeeded when the House of Representatives voted to pass the bill in 2017. Today, we call on the Philippine Senate to reject any and all proposals for the reinstatement of the death penalty. Call on our senators to recognize that the death penalty fails as a deterrent to any form of crime and contributes to a culture that continually devalues life.
Capital punishment is also known as death penalty. As a government-sanctioned practice, a person is killed by a state of punishment for a crime. Death sentence someone be punished in such a manner is referred to a death sentence.
The death penalty is the most heinous, inhumane, and degrading punishment imaginable. Amnesty International opposes the death penalty in all cases, regardless of who is tried, the nature or circumstances of the crime, guilt or innocence, or method of execution.
The death penalty, often known as capital punishment or execution, is when court sentences someone to death for a crime. People who are sentenced to death is usually found guilty to murder or other serious capital offenses such as aggravated murder or felony murder.
We are not in favor of death penalty because death penalty depends on the situation or crime you committed on. There is no credible evidence that we can determine death penalty as a crime, more effectively than long-term imprisonment. We believe that every life in this planet is sacred and gift from our Almighty God. We didn't have the right to take it all from our fellow humans. In other words, my reason, all in all, is based on their religious beliefs.
There are three reasons why we're not favor in death penalty. First is life is a gift from God. Only God can take it. If the verdict was erroneous, you cannot bring back the life of a dead person. Let the person serve his term in prison and there give him a chance to transform to be better. Everyone deserves a second chance to live.
In my point of view, if I kill someone else, I don't deserve to die too. Because I do believe that the wrong deeds that I've done cannot correct the wrong matter too. Yes, it's my fault. It's a sin. But I do believe that the only person can claim lives is God. And if I were going to reply on what I did, I will let myself admit it for the justice that they want and need.
No, for me, executing someone of what they've done making someone else is revenge, not justice.
I also disagree to the death penalty because it is unfair against people. There is no human way to kill, and it threatens human dignity, which is inherent to every human being.